Y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. Y'all, I got the Supernote A5x. I am so excited. We need to unbox this thing and get it set up so that I can start using it and tell y'all what I think about it. But before we get into all that, go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. Y'all, it's been brought to my attention, and I've mentioned this before, that when I start talking about these things, I jump in the middle like everybody knows what I'm talking about, so I'm not going to do that here. Before we get to the unboxing, I'm going to tell you what we're unboxing. This is the Supernote A5x. It's an e-writing tablet, so it's a tablet specifically for those who write. It's not meant for like watching videos, checking email, none of those things. It's meant for a distraction-free writing experience. We've talked about the Remarkable 2, which is also an e-writer or an e-writing tablet. So I want to talk today about the Supernote A5x. I want to get into the box, tell you what's in the box, what came with it, my initial impressions, because I don't really, I know some stuff about it, but I don't know a whole ton of stuff about it. One thing I do know about it is that you can download some apps to it, which is one thing that sets it apart from the Remarkable. So it's an e-writer or a writing tablet. So y'all, let me get us set up somewhere where I have another camera so that y'all can see what I'm doing. And I'll be back. We'll get into the box, get into this thing, and then talk about what we're going to do. Hey y'all, a very frustrated editing Danielle here. So as I'm editing the video from the unboxing, I've come to realize that the camera that I had on my face as I was unboxing the thing, the video from that camera has no audio. So I've tried to mess with it and figure out how to use that video. I thought about dubbing it or doing something, but I feel like that would be really inauthentic, so I apologize. But the only video that I have from the unboxing is the actual boxing, like the literal unboxing part of the video. It does have audio with it. It's not fabulous, but it's okay. So I apologize ahead of time. For the next about 4 minutes, it's going to be my hands talking to you with some not great audio. But please stick with me. If you want, just skip through the actual unboxing part of this video and get to the review, because I think that's what a lot of people are here for anyway. So I'm sorry, y'all. The thing glitched. These things happen. I promise I will learn from it and it won't happen again. But let's get on with the unboxing. I'm going to try to just talk about the Supernote by itself. Not compare it to the others, because did I do that with the Remarkable? I can't even remember. So I'm going to just talk about the Supernote, what it is, what it has, and what it does. So it has this lovely white box, and look, it's like little drawers. So inside my little white drawers, I have the Supernote A5x. Now there are two sizes. There's the A5x and the A6 something, and the A6 something is the smaller one. I went with the big one. So I have the Supernote, and y'all, each and every bit of this is a separate, you buy them separately. It's all a la carte. So we have the tablet. I purchased along with it the Supernote Folio. And we'll talk in a minute about the Folio that I chose. With the Supernote, I bought 2 pens. So let me pull those out. And we'll go through each of these things individually. But so far, y'all, this is a lovely presentation. All right, so all I did was took off the shrink wrap. So let's get into this thing. I'm going to start with the tablet. Can y'all see this box? Even the box is pretty. So we open it up, and there she blows. All right, this is already, I am going to do some comparison because you kind of can't help it. So I can already tell this is thicker than the Remarkable 2. It's got a different feel to it. The Remarkable had a sort of a sturdier feel. So power her on. It's pretty much all that's in the box, I think. Looks like there's a quick start guide. and a cord, but nothing else is going to come in the box, I don't reckon, because nothing else came with it. So everything else you had to buy separately. So I'm going to set that aside. You can see she's starting up. And I'm going to leave that alone because I'm going to do all of that on the side. So you don't have to sit there and watch me do that. I just literally just want to unbox it right now. So let's get into this thing. So this is the folio that you stick it in. And I got this specific folio because, check out the pens. So this is sort of the standard Supernote pen. And of course it's the stylus pen thing. And it's got some weight to it. Well, I wonder if once I post it. It's nicely balanced when you post the cap. Now when it's not capped, it's all over the place for me. There we go. But I would definitely use it posted. So that's sort of, this is the least expensive of the pens that they have on the Supernote website. So that's kind of the standard pen. I guess that's just an extra cap. For spare use, it says. So that's an extra cap. I'm going to set those aside because y'all check this out. I'm going to need a second. Supernote has a Lamy pen. And if you're a pen geek, you're going to need a second too. Y'all, I am a huge fan of the Lamy Safaris. I won't say I have them in all the colors, but I have them in a lot of colors. And when I saw that Supernote had a Lamy pen that you could buy, I was like, this might be the one. It's a Lamy stylus for writing on your Supernote. Now, I say all of that to say that that's why I chose this particular folio, because it has a bigger pen loop and the Lamy pen will fit in it. So that's all of that. So we got the Lamy folio. So let's get this thing in the folio, and then I'm going to go and get it set up, and then I'll come back when I know what I know. So can y'all see there's this little like groove thing on the folio? It's clear, so I don't know if you can see it, but there's a groove in the back of the tablet. So you slide the groove in the folio into the groove in the tablet, and she just kind of slides right on there. And there you have it. So there she is, y'all, the Supernote AX5. Let me get her set up. Let me get her charged. Let me use her for a little minute, figure out what I think and what I know, and I'll be back and we'll talk about it. All right, y'all. The time has come to talk about the Supernote A5x. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you straight out the gate, I am completely in love with this thing. I don't remember what we said when I took it out of the box, so I'm just going to start from jump and tell you what I think. The feel of the thing, it's very sturdy. It's rugged feeling to me. I mean, it's still an e-tablet, so I'm not going to be throwing it around, but it doesn't feel frail at all. You can see that it's fairly thick. It's significantly thicker than the Remarkable. And I'm not going to be comparing the two tablets right now. We'll do a side-by-side of the Supernote, the Remarkable, and the Scribe at some point. But right now, I just want to talk about the Supernote and how much I love it. So, it's got this plastic build with a flexible plastic screen that y'all just feels so good to me when I'm writing. Remember when we opened the box, I got the Lamy Safari, and it was gray the other day when I first opened the box. Well, y'all, I discovered that this Safari is the exact same size, shape, and dimensions of the Safari fountain pens. And I have not all the Safari fountain pens, but I have a bunch of them. So there goes my pen cap. I just changed out the body with a pink one, and now I'm even more in love. So I started off writing with the Safari pen on it, the stylus, I guess. I don't know what this is called, but it's one of these jobbies. And the feel, to me, the feel of writing with this EMR pen, and y'all, I'm just going to say pen from here on out. I'm not writing on this thing with a pen. I'm not writing on it with a pencil. I'm not writing on it with a marker. I'm using an EMR pen thing, but I'm just going to say pen, and y'all are going to know what I mean. So the feel of this EMR pen thing on this tablet, to me, is like I would say it's like either a gel pen or maybe a Uniball pen. So if that's the kind of writing feel you like, I think you'll enjoy the feel of writing on this tablet. And to me, y'all, I'm not going to keep comparing these tablets, but it's kind of hard not to a little bit. To me, the Remarkable felt more like writing with a pencil on paper versus writing with more of a firm, fine-tipped pen on paper, and I'm more of like a rollerball gel fine-tip pen girl than a pencil girl. So that's part of why I love this tablet so much, because I just like the feel of the nib of the pen on the tablet. So that's number one. I like the feel of the actual like pen, and I'm gonna say pen on paper, y'all know what I mean. I like the actual feel of the EMR nib pen thing on the device, on the tablet. I think I showed y'all this. The intern bought me this for my birthday, so I got the Folio with it. Now, we're not comparing yet. When we compare them, I might actually get a Folio to go with the Remarkable so that we can compare apples to apples, but I love this thing. Now, the Folio that I got goes with the Safari pen because it's a big old honker of a pen, and the Safari pen, the Lamy Safari, won't fit in the other loops. So I got another pen at the same time, and it's too big for this. I mean, the loop is too big for this pen, but I can hook it on with the little hook thing, so it's all good. So I just shove things in there. Because I also, in the meantime, bought this, the Staedtler, is that how you say it? The one that looks like a pencil. I bought this off Amazon, and let me say this. This one, when it came, like the way that it came, it had a bit of a mushy feeling nib to it, and I didn't like that. It still didn't have that writing on paper with a pencil feel that the Remarkable does, but it had more of a drag to it. It was a little bit gummy feeling, and I just couldn't get up next to that. So I got different nibs to go in it, and now it's got this exceptionally firm nib, and I love it so, so much. Now, this video isn't just going to be my love affair with this thing, but I just want to tell you straight out the gate that I like it a lot. So let's talk about what it'll do. And it does so many things that I'm certain I'm going to leave out some stuff. I'm going to try to be organized. I have notes. So I'm going to try to be organized and do it in some kind of organized fashion. But please, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. As a matter of fact, as we're going along, if you come up with a question, drop it in the chat. And if I end up answering your question, then so be it. But I would rather you ask the question, and even if it's already answered, than to forget it by the end and then we don't get it answered. So let's get into this thing. I already talked about the pen loop like a big old nerd. I have it plugged in because I use it so much. The battery, it's not dead, but it needs a little juice to it. So I like that the pen is attached via loop versus the magnetized to the side way that many of them do. I just feel like it's sturdier, and there's no need for the magnetizing to the side because it ain't charging nothing anyway. So I like the pen loop. I also got this little baggy thing that I stick it in, even though it's very sturdy and doesn't need any additional protection. I thought this was fun, death by TBR, and so I just shove all of my pens in there with it. and toted around looking like a big old nerd. We've already talked about the form factor of the thing, that it's a little bit thicker, but that it's made of plastic and it just feels sturdy. So like I just said, I'm not the least bit concerned about having additional protection for it. I wouldn't even be concerned about having it without the folio on it, but I do keep it in the folio, and it's a smart folio, so it cuts it off when you close it and it turns it on when you open it, which I like that a lot. One thing that I don't necessarily love about it is that it's not quite as bright as some others. So none of them, okay, some of them are lit. These are not lit. This one and the Remarkable are not backlit, like zero backlit at all. And I feel like this screen is a little bit darker colored than the Remarkable. So you really have to have good light on it to be able to write on it and really use it. Which for me isn't a huge deal, but I have noticed a few times, like writing at my desk, I have to be sure and have good light on. So like if it's getting dark, or in the morning when I'm working, when I first get up, it's really early. So if the sun isn't quite up enough yet and it's dark, then it's a little bit harder to see. So I just have to turn on a light. No biggie, just like writing on paper. So just be aware of that the screen is really not conducive to low light work. We already talked about what it feels like to write on it. It's a soft display with hard nibs. So the pens that you can buy from Rada, is it Rada, whatever it is. The pens that you can buy from them have firmer nibs. So that's what gives you that. It's almost like, you know how when you open like a new notebook, like a new spiral bound notebook to write on, and it gives you that little bit of give of writing on like the top paper of a stack of papers. That's what it feels like you're writing on that with like a Uniball pen or like a gel pen. If you like that feeling, then you're going to enjoy it with this tablet. Again, if you're more in favor of that writing with a pencil feel, this is I don't want to say this isn't the one for you, because I really love a lot of things about this tablet, but that might make it less no, this is probably not the one for you. Because y'all, I really feel like, to me, that's what makes this more enjoyable than writing with the Remarkable, is just the way that the nib feels on the surface of the tablet. And while we're at it, another thing that I feel the Supernote does really, really well, and it's erasing. So you can have a pen with a smart button. I don't know if you'll be able to see the button, but the Lamy has a smart button right here, and you can set it to do different things. And one of the things you can set it to do is erase. So you mash down the button and you can circle a word and it'll erase the whole word, or you can like strike through a letter and it'll erase the letter. Or you can have a pen that doesn't have a smart button on it, and there's a built-in erase feature. All you have to do is set 2 fingers on the device and then circle what you want to erase, and it erases it. And y'all, it sounds like a simple little thing, but it's amazing how much that streamlines your workflow to be able to be writing and then just erase and keep writing without having to click anything, without having to touch the menu. Because in the menu, you can also activate an eraser, of course, but you can just keep on writing, erase, and then just write some more. It's just really nice. And I feel like there are a lot of things about this device that are that. They're just really nice. Like, I feel like across all of these e-writer devices, like devices that are specifically meant for writers, they do many of or most of the same things, just in a little bit different ways. But to me, the Supernote just does them nicer. And one of those things is the toolbar. So one fabulous thing about the toolbar on the Supernote is that you can move it around. So you can minimize it, of course, to where you don't see it at all. And you can move it to the top or the bottom of your screen, or you can have it on either side. And there's a little sort of shorty toolbar that if you want... So if you need to have your tools available, but you don't necessarily need them all, you can have this little sort of shorty toolbar that you can move around. And I just think that's really nice, just depending on what you're doing and where you're working on the screen, you can have the toolbar where you need it. And y'all, for lefties, I think that's a great thing because on a lot of devices with a fixed toolbar, it's going to get in the way of left-handed people. And I've heard and read lefties complaining that like they turn their pages or they erase things because the toolbar gets in the way of their hand. Well, you don't have to worry about that on this device because you can just move it. So while we're talking about the toolbar, there are a couple of other things about it that I really love. One is that it allows you to have your different pens available all at the same time. So I can be writing in my fine liner and then hit the highlighter, highlight, and then go back to my fine liner without having to activate a toolbar or go into or out of the toolbar. And again, it's just nice for workflow not to have to sort of click in and out of those things. Another thing that it does that's really nice is once you set your pen preference, it remembers that same pen preference across all of your different documents and different types of documents. So if you go from a note to a notebook to a PDF, you have all the same pens available there. Now, you can change those pens, of course, if you want to, but I just think it's nice not to have to select which pen you want every time you go into a different document. The Supernote also does some really cool things with organization. So like I said, all of these devices do a lot of the same things. Like you can have a document inside a folder, inside another folder. That's pretty standard. But one thing that the Supernote lets you do is to pin a document for quick access. So if I have a document that I use a lot or I use all the time or that I just want to be able to jump to quickly and then jump back out of, all I have to do is go into this menu and click Pin Document and it pins it into my quick access panel. So then I can access it quickly from whatever document I'm in. Another thing that Supernote does that's absolutely brilliant is stars. And here's how that works. Anywhere that I'm writing, all that I have to do is draw a star, and it'll index that in the notebook. And then when I go to the star feature, and it lists all the pages where I dropped a star. And y'all, that's a great feature for to-dos. Like if you're taking notes or you're doing something and you're like, oh, I need to remember to do that, drop a star. And then all you got to do is remember to go back and look at your stars and it'll be there. And then once you've done it, once you've taken care of whatever that was, just erase the star and it's off of your stars page. Another thing that Supernote does is headings. I think this used to be called titles, but now it's headings. And so it's the same kind of thing, but the way it works is when you write something that you want to become a title or a heading, you just lasso it, make it a heading, and now you can just go to your table of contents under headings, and it lists your headings. And you can see here, you have your stars, your headings, or you can create keywords by simply circling a word of significance. You lasso that, you hit keyword, add, and then it'll come up under your list of keywords. So each of these is a way to help organize your notes. So it's like putting flags, like if you have a physical notebook and you put like flags on the pages to remind you of where certain things are, this is just an electronic way to do that. And then they're all indexed under this table of contents or this index page. So if you're somebody that uses paper notebooks or if you use a planner, like if you keep a daily planner or a diary, I think this would be a great way to do that. If you're trying to convert to an e-writer, this would be a great way to do that because you can simply use headings or keywords to tag your different days or ideas or something, and it'll help you move around within that planner or that diary. I actually have a planner on here that I use. It's just a freebie that I got because as y'all know, I just got this thing a few weeks ago, so it was the middle of August that I started using it. So I just grabbed a free planner off the internet and It's really slick, y'all. You can jump back and forth between weeks, months, days, dates. You can choose how you want your planner to look when you first select it and you first set it up. And then the one that I got, within each day, I have the option to go to these different pages where I can add more notes if I have a lot going on a day. Like I'll often use these, like if I'm filming in a day and I need to try to keep straight what I need to do, where and when, I just go to this page where I can take more notes, and you can see that it's indexed by date. So from the date in the calendar, if I click more, it'll take me to that additional notes page so that I can make my notes on that page. I know that they're for that date, and then I can go back to my calendar and I can page through day by day. And if I'm like, oh, Friday the 13th, wait, what did I need to do on that day? I can go to my more notes for that day where I've written down what it is that I have to do for that day. So it's become an invaluable way for me to keep up with what I have to do and to be able to make lots of additional notes about what I have going on without having 100 sticky notes all over the place, which is what I normally would do. So y'all, I'm getting completely off task on this thing. I was going to try to be organized, and I'm just so excited and I love it so much that I'm going down rabbit holes. So let me get back to the things that I wanted to really tell y'all about this thing, because I don't want to be talking forever. And then, like I said, please drop notes in the comments if you're like, wait, well, does it do this or that? So we talked about the stars, we talked about the headings, we talked about keywords, we talked a little bit about the planner. Let me say one more thing about planners. Y'all, there are gobs of planners out there that you can buy for the Supernote, for the Scribe, for any of the e-writers, for the Remarkable. And I think that they are like cross-device compatible. So if somebody made one for like the Remarkable, you can probably use it on the Supernote. This is just one that I got. I don't even know where I found it, but it was free. It was meant to be free. I didn't steal it from anybody. So there are lots of resources out there for these things. I'm actually using some PDFs that I created and then just dropped on here for organizing my ideas and my notes for vlogs. I never intended to use these things electronically. I had been printing them out and writing on them. And then one day I was like, wait a minute, that's a PDF, and just dropped it on here through the cloud interface. And then Bob's your uncle, it showed up on the Supernote and I was able to write right on it. So I think the more you're able to I don't know, I don't want to say think outside the box because that's so cliche, but seriously, the more you're able to conceptualize the things that you do in more of like a linear electronic format, I think the more useful these devices will be. We talked about writing, we talked about organizing, notebooks. So of course you can create paper, like a note, you can create a notebook. When you create a notebook, if you do it just on the fly and you're like, well, how will I ever find it in there? The default title is the date that you created it. So if you just open up a notebook and start writing and you don't title it, then it's easy to go back and find it. And at least if you can remember the date that you did it, that you're like, oh, on, Thursday we were at Walmart and I jotted down the recipe for a cuppa. You can go back and find it by that date. So that's good, and that's useful sometimes if you don't want to take the time to actually like create a title and all that. Just start writing and you can go back later and do your organization. The page flips are very responsive, and you can set it to flip using one finger or two, which sounds completely ridiculous unless you set your hand. I was setting my hand on the thing and it was messing up like my page turns and my erasing and stuff. So all I had to do is go in and change some settings. I now flip my pages with two fingers instead of one finger, and it stopped turning its own pages, which was really nice because that was exceptionally annoying. The interface, the online interface is very easy to use. Again, not comparing. I don't find it quite as useful as the Remarkable one, but it's considerably more free, meaning that it's free. So we talked about this in the Remarkable video, that's one of the things that people complained about with the Remarkable was that I think it was $2.99 a month you had to pay for the cloud interface. And somebody mentioned in the notes, and thank you for correcting me, that there were things that you could still do for free. It was just other things you had to pay for. And I'm not sure if that's grandfathered in, like if you had it from before it went to subscription only, or if there are things that you could do for free, because I had the 1 year free from just buying the thing. So there might be things that you can do online with the Remarkable without having to pay for it, but this one is all free. So let's talk just a little bit about a PDF. It's very easy to drop a PDF on here. It's the same kind of thing. You've got the interface on your computer, you upload it to that, and then you just hit sync, and it shows up on here. So let's just look at this document. Like I said, I downloaded this, I uploaded it onto the tablet, which is very simple. There's this little swipe down menu, and on there you have your cloud sync. You just hit that, it syncs with whatever's happening in your cloud upload download app thing, and you have it on your device, and you can write directly on here, and all of your pens are available. You can fine line, you can use the marker, you can highlight. These are neat. So these are highlighters. You can underline, you can add a note. You can bracket. This bracketing feature is neat because it's another one of those that indexes things. So let's bracket something. So I highlight, and then when this comes up, I hit bracket. And now you can see that bit is bracketed. Now when I come over here to my quick access menu, I can go to digest, and everything that I've bracketed is now referred to in the digest. So I can jump back to where I bracketed that for easy access. And that's great for note taking. So if you're using this to read, like do heavy PDF reading or heavy note taking, it's great to be able to bracket passages and index them that way and be able to go back and refer to them later and jump back to those pages and be able to do what you need to with those passages that you've bracketed. All right, I said I wasn't going to drag us too deep into the weeds on this thing, and I dragged us way deep into the weeds on this thing. Y'all, I love this device. Let me say this. I didn't even talk about the Kindle. Okay. I'm not going to get all up into the Kindle on this, but I do want to say there are apps that you can download onto the Supernote. The Kindle is one of them. I don't love it. That's one of the things that I was really excited about doing on this device was reading. But I am so in love and so spoiled by being able to read on the Kindle Scribe. This, to me, doesn't compare to the Kindle Scribe because it's like if you have a Scribe and you've had the Scribe for a while, you remember the early days of reading on the Kindle Scribe when you couldn't do 2 pages in landscape, so it was just 1 page of like all just words. To me, that's not as enjoyable of a reading experience, so I don't read on the Supernote like I had planned to because of 2 things. 1, it's not as good as reading on the Scribe, and 2, I wanted to be able to annotate on the screen like a PDF. I lost my mind. I wasn't thinking about the fact that it's really just the Kindle app on a different device. So of course you cannot do that. That was my bad. That was me not managing my expectations before I got this device. So you can read on it as a Kindle. You can highlight. You cannot annotate directly onto the page just in the Kindle app. And another thing that disappointed me, and again, this is me not managing my own expectations, you can't do that bracketing digest thing in the Kindle app because it's just a Kindle app. So again, that's me not managing my expectations and wanting it to do the things that the Supernote does, but in the Kindle part of it, and it just doesn't. I love the Supernote. I think I started to say this before I interrupted myself to talk about the Kindle part of it. If you're looking for an e-writing tablet that you can just take straight out of the box and be able to navigate it and do all of the things, and that's very intuitive and works very easily when you first start using it, then maybe look more at the Remarkable. I don't think that this one is not easy to use, but it's just not as intuitive as the Remarkable. There's a bit of a learning curve. You have to figure out some things on this device. I think once you figure them out, it's absolutely brilliant. But there is some figuring out of things, and I think one of the big differentials between really all of the writing tablets is the way that it feels when you write. Now, I am a pen geek, I am a paper geek, I am a writing geek. So to me, the way that a pen feels in my hand is very important, and the way that like a pen stroke feels on a screen or an EMR stroke feels on a screen is very important to me. So if that's not a big deal to you, then don't even worry about it. But if that matters to you, then maybe try to figure out a way that you can get these devices into your hands to get the feel for them before you commit to buy them. Or, I'm not necessarily saying buy them and return them if you don't like them, but make sure that there's a way that you don't necessarily have to commit before you can try it. Because to me, there is a very different writing experience between the Remarkable, the Supernote, and the Scribe. And to me, those writing experience differences make a big difference in my enjoyment of the tablet. So, I love the Supernote so much. I am thrilled with the purchase of this device. I use it every single day. It is my daily driver, and I am absolutely thrilled with it. So y'all, let me know if you have any questions. I'm absolutely certain there are things that I left out because I was so excited and got all up in my feels and got all off my notes. So y'all, please drop questions in the comments. And if you have any of these devices, let me know which ones you're using, which ones you like, and why you like the ones you like. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, we're most definitely friends. So go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I upload food and fitness videos at the beginning of every week with some book videos sprinkled in between. See you on the next one.